Today's story. Title: The Great Jewel Heist. Chapter 1: The Plan. Max and his gang of robbers had been out of luck recently. Their last heist didn't go as planned, and they barely managed to escape the cops. Max knew that they needed to come up with a new plan if they were going to stay in business. One day, as they were sitting in their hideout, Max had an idea. He had heard about a valuable painting that was on display at the city's most prestigious art gallery. The painting was worth millions of dollars, and Max knew that it would be the perfect target for their next heist. Max spent weeks researching the art gallery's security system, and he knew that it was one of the most sophisticated systems in the city. But Max was determined to pull off the heist, and he had a plan. He recruited the best cat burglar in the city, a woman named Mia. Mia was known for her agility and stealth, and Max knew that she would be the key to their success. Together, Max and Mia hatched a plan to steal the valuable painting. They knew that it would be risky, but they were willing to take the chance. Max and his gang were ready for their next big heist. Chapter 2: The Heist. The night of the heist had finally arrived. Max and his gang had spent the last few days meticulously planning and preparing for the robbery. Mia had been practicing her skills, making sure she was ready for the job ahead. As the sun began to set, Max and Mia made their way to the art gallery. They knew that the guards would be on high alert, so they had to be careful not to arouse suspicion. When they arrived at the gallery, Max and Mia put their plan into action. Max created a diversion by setting off a smoke bomb at the back of the building. While the guards were distracted, Mia made her way to the painting. The security system was more complicated than Max had anticipated, but Mia was able to bypass it with ease. She carefully removed the painting from its frame and placed it in her backpack. Then she made her way back to Max, who was waiting for her outside. Just as they were about to make their escape, the guards spotted them. Max and Mia sprinted out of the gallery, with the guards hot on their heels. They ran through the dark alleys and narrow streets, their hearts pounding in their chests. Finally, they managed to lose the guards and make their way back to their hideout. As they breathed a sigh of relief, Max and Mia examined the painting. It was more beautiful than they could have imagined, and they knew that it would fetch a high price on the black market. They had pulled off the heist of a lifetime. Chapter 3: The Chase. Max and Mia knew that they couldn't keep the stolen painting in their hideout for too long. The longer they kept it, the greater the risk of getting caught by the authorities. So they decided to sell it as quickly as possible. Max contacted a fence he knew, who was willing to buy the painting for a high price. They set up a meeting in a secluded alley, away from prying eyes. But as they were making the exchange, they heard police sirens in the distance. They had been caught. Max and Mia grabbed the money and the painting, and ran in different directions. The police were hot on their trail, chasing them through the crowded streets. Max ducked into an alley, hoping to lose the cops. But as he turned the corner, he ran into a dead end. He was trapped, the police closed in on him, and Max knew that he had no choice but to surrender. He raised his hands in the air, and the police handcuffed him. Mia, on the other hand, managed to evade the police and make her way back to the hideout. But when she got there, she found that the rest of the gang had already been arrested. She was the only one left. Mia knew that she couldn't keep the painting, but she couldn't turn herself in either. So she decided to leave the painting at a charity auction, anonymously. She hoped that someone who truly appreciated art would buy it, and that it would no longer be a symbol of greed and crime. And as for Max and the rest of the gang, they were sentenced to several years in prison for their crimes. They had learned a hard lesson: crime never pays. Chapter 4: The Twist. Mia felt guilty for what she had done, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she needed to make things right. She decided to visit Max in prison, hoping to find a way to help him and the rest of the gang. When she got there, Max was surprised to see her. He had thought that she had abandoned them. Mia explained her plan. She had contacted a lawyer who could help them get their sentences reduced if they cooperated with the authorities. She had also convinced the art gallery to drop the charges against them in exchange for their cooperation. At first, Max was hesitant. He didn't trust the system, and he didn't want to betray his fellow gang members. But as Mia pleaded with him, he began to see that she was right. They had to take responsibility for their actions, and they had to make things right. So Max agreed to cooperate, and he convinced the rest of the gang to do the same. They spent the next few months providing the authorities with information on their criminal activities, and helping them to catch other criminals in the process. In the end, their cooperation paid off. The authorities were impressed by their honesty and their willingness to take responsibility for their actions. They were given reduced sentences, and some of them were even released early for good behavior. Max and Mia remained friends, even after everything they had been through. They had learned that sometimes the right thing to do is the hardest thing to do, but it's also the most rewarding. Chapter 5: The Consequences. Even though Max and the gang had their sentences reduced, they still had to face the consequences of their actions. They had caused a lot of damage, and they had hurt a lot of people along the way. Max knew that he had to make things right, so he decided to use his skills for good instead of for crime. He started volunteering at a local community center, teaching kids how to paint and express themselves through art. Mia, on the other hand, decided to go back to school and study law. She wanted to make a difference in the world, and she knew that becoming a lawyer would allow her to help people in a meaningful way. As for the stolen painting, it was eventually returned to the art gallery. But instead of being put back on display, it was donated to a local museum, where it could be appreciated by everyone. Max and Mia had learned that there are consequences to every action, and that sometimes the consequences can be severe. But they had also learned that it's never too late to make things right, and that even the smallest act of kindness can make a big difference in the world. The end.